word.
literally does not de-escalate. Okay, they do not have. It's the most cop country on the planet, brother. It is such a cop country that it literally trains our cops. Okay, the IDF trains our police, brother. The passive voice being used for domestic American police brutality is also used for Israel for that reason. It is the most cop-coded country on the planet, all the way down to like the that they engage with on a regular basis. So what do cops do? They never de-escalate, brother. They always escalate. So they're gonna.
All right, what was this guy talking about, man? Jeez, man. What are you saying, man? They're gonna escalate. They're cops, so they're gonna escalate. What could they possibly escalate to? Like, think about what possible scenarios that Israel could fall through with or have an escalatory response to. What, they're gonna hit the Iranian oil rigs? Is that what they're gonna do? So the Yemeni Houthis can. They've already threatened to hit the Saudi Arabian oil fields. They've done it before, right? So our gas prices are $20 a gallon. What's the U.S. going to tell Israel after that? Once we're paying $20 a gallon for freaking gas, and the U.S. bases who are even more vulnerable than Tel Aviv, the Iranian, one of the Iranian generals said that hey, we're going to target all the U.S. bases. You know, and there's U.S. troops in those bases, and they could be easily vaporized if Israel were to attack Iran. He literally said that. And you think the United States of America is going to approve of Israel doing that? Absolutely not. And I bet you that they're thinking that they're going to go ahead and attack Iran's oil rigs or their nuclear facilities or their nuclear sites or whatever the case is. They're going to damage those, you know, but the retaliatory, and Iran's going to respond right away. They literally sent those missiles within 13 minutes, and it reached its destination. Just, you know, go in there, get a ceasefire deal going, and save, you know, whatever you have left. Because if once people start leaving Tel Aviv and all these other places, because you got to understand, that area, especially people that live in Israel, they're not accustomed to chaos and war and rockets flying everywhere. It's not like Lebanon and Gaza and Syria and these areas where people are, you know, smoking shisha and the building next door is getting obliterated. These people will leave. They have dual citizenship all over the world. They will leave, and you know, the economy will collapse. So I don't know what, you know. There's literally no way to respond to this. And not only that, it's a done deal, because you got to think about it. The Israelis murdered the Palestinian political figure Ismail Haniyeh in an IRGC compound. They sent a missile to his phone by getting his coordinates through a WhatsApp text. And that's, you know, they literally assassinated a public figure on foreign sovereignty, foreign land, who was a guest of the IRGC, one of the most secure compounds in Iran. And he literally got assassinated. And per international law, they have the right to respond. Right? So it's a done deal, dude. Like, don't be that idiot that responds, because like if they can send 200 ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles within 13 minutes, and it 90% hit. Okay, and they're telling you that's 10% of what they could do. If that's 10% of what they can do, what does 30% look like? Right? Yeah, I just don't buy into this crap, man. Like, this is just what's going on. Is yeah, I don't even want to. I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Take a look at Tim Walz and what's his name, JD Vance's response to the attacks.
Iran, which launched this attack, has received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration.
So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership.
Look, at this point, man, I don't think Iran even needs to make a nuclear bomb. They've already developed relationships with nuclear countries, right? Especially a big one, Russia, who one of their foreign advisors flew into Iran, and a lot of people don't want to report on this, but he approved this attack because he knew that if the United States gets involved, Russia has too many assets in Iran and Syria to allow Iran or the U.S. to completely obliterate Iran, right? I don't even think Iran needs to make a nuclear bomb. I think Russia, whether it comes from Russia, North Korea, Pakistan, they'll hand deliver that shit to them, man. Like, let's keep it all the way real. Let's stop the BS. Okay, Russia is not going to allow Iran to be dominated in the region by the United States. And Russia's already talking about using nuclear weapons if they attack Belarus. Okay. Just keep it real with everyone.
Now, to answer this particular question, we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line. Iran, which launched this attack, has
people were afraid of stepping out of line for Donald Trump. Yeah, bullshit.
Received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got...
Can you imagine that Iran firing those hypersonic missiles on the United States? That would be wild, man. And they actually do, look, believe it or not, they have capabilities to do that.
Not out of line, the United States global leadership would put stability...
Let's hope that doesn't happen. All right, so everybody don't...
peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike, Margaret, and I want to answer the question. Look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
Well, look, Donald Trump was in office. We'll sometimes hear a revisionist history, but when Donald Trump was in office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership. And when Iran shot down an American aircraft in international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump. And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look, our allies understand that Donald Trump is fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where...
That's a lie, by the way. they did attack the U.S. military base. That was after the assassination of General Soleimani. But there was literally zero casualties involved in that entire thing.
Makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you witnessed today, like you witnessed in April. Both Iranian attacks were repelled. Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
Diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump, who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years. And the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the whole debate was horrifically boring. I don't think anyone's talking about it. It was just so boring. And I can't even tell you who won or what exactly went down. But I think Walz held his own. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've seen some clips and he held his own. Similar to what Kamala did. I don't think anyone tuned into this debate. Like, literally, no one cared. The Iranian attack literally took the entire headlines, and they were just, I didn't see even mainstream media talking about this debate. So anyways, yeah, we're about 30 days away from the actual elections, about 32 days from the actual election day. So it's going to be interesting what actually happens and what transpires. This is a big one. So, but yeah, all that talk about Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon and this and that, and I don't even think that, to be honest with you, they probably could buy one from North Korea or Russia or Iran or some of their allies around the world, because Russia has vested interest in keeping Iran stable in the Middle East, because that's they've already even said, one of the Russian officials said that Iran's the future of the Middle East. So what does that tell you? They have vested interest, and they have military bases in Syria and Iran, and Iran's supplying them with most of their ballistic missiles that they're using against Ukraine. So there's a huge vested interest in keeping Iran stable. All right, so I don't see Russia leaving Iran alone under no circumstances if the United States decides to get involved in that war, which I don't even see happening. I think eventually the U.S. is just going to tell Israel, like, once our gas prices go up to $20 an hour, and we're literally, a top ramen is fucking $15. I think the U.S. is going to tell their greatest ally, well, I'm sorry, we can't help you. We're trying to stop this, but you don't seem to be listening. So